Hello and welcome to the new video. And today we're gonna do something totally different. We're gonna fly Airbus A320 fly-by-wire from one small country, well actually from two countries, from Montenegro to Croatia. It is something that I am familiar with, and I think that we don't need any long flight for this tutorial. We will do just short flight, because what I want actually is to teach you how to fly this airplane from the beginning to the end. That means from the cold and dark until cold and dark. Okay, so let's just jump in the cockpit. It is dark a little bit because it's early morning. As you can see, it's 7 o'clock there. 7 o'clock, and the sky is beautiful. It's beautiful winter morning in Tivat, Montenegro. And we're going to fly from Tivat, Montenegro to Croatia, Zagreb airport. Okay, so first thing what you need to do when you start your simulator is actually to start the battery. The batteries are here, two buttons. You will see them now when light turn on, and after starting the battery, you will start external power. That is first thing you're gonna do, and then we can turn on our light. Now is better to see, right? Okay, so batteries and external power. Now aircraft is powered, but have nothing else. We can actually, what we can do is here under the pedestal we have two buttons where we can actually increase the volume of the background light, and also what I like to do is to increase the brightness of these two displays. You can do on these buttons if you follow my mouse. So these two buttons here is for these two displays, and these two displays you increase the brightness through this button. Next we're gonna start flypad. While starting flypad, we're gonna arm our emergency lights. We can already turn on signs, seatbelt and no smoking, because very soon we're gonna accept passengers. You wanna turn on crew supply and also align the IRS. So the start sequence is 1, 2 and 3. So this is number 2. So actually if you go by order, you go 1, 3 and middle. That's how you go. Now when we have aligned our IRS, you will get message here. It will say IR in align 7 minutes. So we need to wait 7 minutes before we even can take off. But we have still many things to do before our takeoff. So let's go to the pad. Let's go to the pad. I already have prepared a flight plan in SimBrief. This tutorial will be based on SimBrief, so I will not teach you how to make flight plan in SimBrief. If you don't know how to do it, I can make separate video for that. But we're gonna just load flight plan from SimBrief. Everything is already prepared. As you can see here, flight plan is loaded. You also have meteorological data here, which is already loaded from the meteorological servers in the world. And also you have small map where you can see your aircraft. It's positioned in Tivat airport in Montenegro. Yeah, that's all. So what we need to do next is actually check our flight plan to see what is the planned fuel. So our block fuel for today, the block fuel is the what you need to know for refueling the aircraft. and it is 7,287. We will round that to 7,300. So what we're gonna do is just type here 7,300 and press this play button, and refuel is completed. You can make in settings that refuel take like realistic time or whatever. I just make it instant for the purpose of this. See here, actually here you can instant, fast and real. If you put real, it will take like, I don't know, 10-15 minutes or maybe even 20 minutes to refuel, depends of the fuel. I just put instant for the sake of this tutorial. So we are done with the fuel. What we need to do now is to deal with our MCDU. And first thing what we're gonna do is press here ATSU and then go to AOC menu. We need to initiate our flight, so we're gonna load our flight. You just say init data request and it will load it automatically from the sim brief. And then you go back to AOC menu. You are going to press W and B, which is state weight and balance actually. So you're gonna press there. You wanna send request. After everything is populated, that is our passenger for today. We're gonna click start boarding, and also boarding will be instant because I set it up instant for the sake of this tutorial now, so we don't have to wait. Now when we are done with that, we can actually return, and now we can go to init page. On init page you will also press init request and wait for a second, and very soon everything will be populated with your flight plan, with all data needed for your flight, almost all data. After everything is populated, you can delete these messages and you can go to second page, because you can see we have here arrows. That means that this page have second page too. So you go click on this arrow and you go to second page. And if you press once this zero fuel weight, it will automatically calculate your zero fuel weight based on your passengers we just board. So you click it again and it will populate these empty spaces for you. About block fuel, we just loaded 7,300, which we can confirm here in the middle display. 7,300 kg. So what we're gonna put here is 7.3, and you put it here, and you are completely set with this init page. That's it. Now you want to go to your flight plan. This is our flight plan, loaded direct Tivat to Zagreb and our route, but we don't have our departure and we don't have our arrival. We wanna set that too, because otherwise how will aircraft know when we take off from the runway where to go to come to this first waypoint Tibri. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna press here on the first airport, Tivat, and we're gonna choose departure. And we know already that we are departing from runway 14. If I bring here our flight plan, you can see actually how it looks like. So we are departing here from Tivat. This purple is our departure, and this different green color will be our arrival, and this dotted line will be our approach. So that is three things that you need to set beside the flight plan. So I have already charts here, and since our first waypoint is Tibri, I'm going to choose of course Tibri departure, and I choose Tibri 1 Mike departure. As you can see, this is the airport, and we're gonna depart from runway 14. We're gonna fly and turn into heading 159. We will come to this point. We need to be at 4,000 or above with the maximum speed of 220 knots. Then after that, this point, we need to be at 6,000 feet and 220 knots. And then we're gonna make a left turn to heading of 250 or 5 miles. It's easy to read the map. I'm just showing you how to read the chart. Actually, this is your direction, your heading. This is the distance between these two waypoints, and this is restrictions you have to follow. So at Tibri, we're gonna be at flight level 160. So this is our initial flight level, and we're gonna set up our initial flight level later in the MCP panel. But first let's go to here, and like I said, we're gonna choose runway 14, and now we need to choose our departure. And you can see that we have here okay, no more. So we have two departures. We have Tibri 1 Mike and Tibri 3 Foxtrot. Like I said, I choose Tibri 1 Mike departure, but we can you can choose whatever you want, or actually if you fly online, if you have ATC, they will designate you what departure you're going to use, or maybe they won't give you any, maybe they will vector you or something. But in this case, I'm going to choose Tibri 1 Mike departure. And with that chosen, I'm gonna press insert, and because our IRS is already aligned, you can see now in our navigation display, if I zoom out a little bit, we have actually set all departures. So this is our departure. Okay, what we're gonna do, we're gonna set up our initial altitude, and it was flight level 160, that means 16,000 feet. We're gonna set that here. That will be our first initial altitude. Later we're gonna set that to flight level 300, which is our cruise altitude, but that one after Tibri. So usually when you fly, you don't feel arrival. I'm gonna feel it now. You can feel it now in the ground if you're flying without ATC. If you flying with ATC, they can give you any arrival in any time. So usually you don't feel it. You will feel it somewhere on cruise when you speak with ATC, and they will give you. But in this case, we don't have ATC, so I'm gonna press the button which is say our destination airport, and I'm gonna click on arrival, and our arrival at this moment will be runway 22, because according to wind, our runway 22 is active runway. And I'm going to choose 22 Zulu arrival, and now we need to choose our star. So our star will be Tabli to Yankee. Again, why Tabli? Because our flight plan, let me bring this back again. So our flight plan is actually Tibri, Idasi, Tabli. So this is our base flight plan. The first waypoint of our flight plan is Tibri, and that's why we choose Tibri 1 Mike departure. And also our last waypoint is Tabli, so I'm choosing Tabli to Yankee arrival, and also I'm choosing ILS Zulu 22 runway approach. So it's simple as that, very simple. and our approach will look something like this. I bring the chart. You can see we will arrive from here on waypoint Tabli, and then we will fly here, and then we will have a right turn, flight here, and then left turn until this waypoint, which is called Rerna. And on that waypoint our arrival stop and approach begin. So we're gonna turn left again in this direction towards the airport, but that one is shown on another chart, which is approach chart, ILS approach chart. And you can see here is Rerna, and then we will fly this until we intercept our localizer and glide slope. So is that simple? I hope you understand that I'm trying to explain everything in the most simpler way. So let's just set up. We already choose ILS 22 Zulu. So now I'm gonna scroll with this arrow until we found Tabli to Yankee. So we are searching for Tabli to Yankee. Tabli to Yankee, there it is. Let's press Tabli to Yankee. And now about vias, if I choose no vias, let's choose no vias, that is transition. If I choose no transition, if we you can actually check your flight plan how it looks like on this navigation display, and if you now see only TWAT, you can actually switch here to plan, and then if you scroll with this up and down buttons, you can actually not here, I'm sorry, flight plan, and then if you scroll with this, you will see that you have discontinuity. So at Tibri we have discontinuity, we have no connection to the rest of the flight plan. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna press clear. So we have clear here, and then press on that discontinuity, and you can see that now flight plan is connected with the rest. So let's just scroll through our flight plan and let's see. We are coming here on our arrival, and you can see we don't need any transition because we are already at Rerna. So we don't need transition. We will automatically from Rerna go to our approach and to our glide slope. So there is no more discontinuity in this flight plan, and it's good, we don't need any transition. In case that you have discontinuity here at Rerna waypoint, then you will choose Rerna or next waypoint, Zagreb maybe, transition, but we don't need it. At this moment we don't need it because our flight plan is just good. So we can switch back to normal view and to 10, because for takeoff we need to have that zoomed. So this is for the flight plan. Let's go to performance page. Now we need to choose what flaps we're going to take off, and I already know that we're gonna take off with flaps 1 because that is standard flaps for the Airbus takeoff when you have normal long runway. And usually in Airbus it will expect you to put trim here too, but in this case it's not simulated. So if I put like this 0.8 let's say, and flaps 1, if I press here it will say format error because in this particular aircraft is not yet simulated. So we're gonna put only 1 for the flaps, and it's gonna accept here, but trim will stay unknown. And then after you put flaps, you can actually press V1 2 times, VR 2 times, and V2 2 times to set up our takeoff speeds, and you are good to go. If you have any calculator and you know what is flex temperature to go, you can enter here flex temperature, and then you don't push throttle all the way to the maximum to take off power, but you will push throttle only until here, and you will take off with that flex power that is a little bit less than full power. Okay, so we don't know actually, I mean I know, but we cannot enter here our trims. So we're gonna press here, and I know that my trim will be nose up 0.8, and I'm gonna set up here. You looking here, see it says 0.8 up. If I push it down, it will say down. If I push up, it will say up. So 0.8 up, that is going to be our takeoff trim for today. So we are good completely with this MCU. Now we can click on flight plan. And yes, one more thing. One very cool feature of the fly-by-wire aircraft, this particular add-on. So you can go to menu, you can go back to ATSU and AOC, and you can go to VX or weather request, and after you have all your flight plan populated, you will have here airports. This is our departure airport, destination airport, and our alternate airport. Everything is filled here. So we can ask for METAR. METAR is meteorological report. So we click send, and then we return to AOC menu, and we are actually waiting here for the message, company message. There it is. So we have received company message. Now we go here to received messages, and we can see that we received METAR at 0628 Zulu. So we're gonna press that, and you can see that you can see complete meteorological report for all three airports. So this is very difficult because we need our flight plan here. So we will click print, and then we're gonna go here and wait until flight plan is printed on this small printer. And after it's printed, you will just click on that with your mouse button, and it will position your flight plan here in front of the throttle. So we can see that actually on TWAT our QNH today is 1026, wind is variable 1 knot, so actually all runway in use. We have more than 10 kilometers visibility, a little bit of scattered clouds at 4,000 feet, overcast at 7,000 feet, temperature is +3, and dew point is 2 degrees. So what actually is important for us is this QNH. So we need to set up 1026 up here in QNH. At the moment is set to standard 1013, but we need to set up at 1026 as it is here. And also we can have all that for our destination airport and for our alternate airport if we need it. Hopefully we won't need it in this tutorial, but you never know, you may need your alternate airport. Okay, now when everything is set up, and see there is already nice daylight outside, we can actually we are actually good to go now. We have nothing else to set up, so we are good to go. Let me just start my ACARS, or I forget. Okay, so what is next? Here we are at taxi out parking, so we don't have to pushback. In case we need pushback, you will ask for pushback here from ATC, but in this case we don't need pushback. We can start our engines. So how are we gonna start our engines? Let's go to the overhead panels, and first what we're gonna do is start the fuel pumps, all of them. Okay, when you start the fuel pumps, you're gonna turn on beacon, because beacon is outside lamp, which actually tell everyone around the aircraft that you are about to start, so they move away. So you start beacon, and then after that we're gonna press APU master switch and APU start switch. We're gonna start APU and we're gonna wait because APU take time to start. We're gonna switch this to APU and we are waiting until APU start. It will only take like less than a minute, maybe. You can see that EGT is rising. Now it's falling. And very soon you're gonna see here some numbers. And when you see numbers here, actually your APU is good to go. See? APU available. You even get a message. So that's it. Now we're going up again and we're gonna turn window heat and also APU bleed. APU bleed, if you forget to turn on APU bleed, you will probably fail to start your engines. You won't be able to start your engines. And window heat I will turn because otherwise your windows will start to fog in case of cold weather. So now, sorry, I'm just going away with the cameras, but this is the best view actually for you to see. So now with our APU running, we can start our engine. We will switch this to ignition start position. You can see here is normal, here is ignition start, and we're gonna flick this switch up and then we waiting. Now you will see that numbers here will start to move, and very soon you're gonna see that engine is started actually. It really doesn't take a lot of time. Different companies have different procedures. I was learned to always start engine number 2 because that is the right engine, because usually left side is connected to jetway or gate or whatever, and in case you start engine and it come to the fire or something, it is always better to start furthest engine from the passenger. That's how I was taught. Okay, now engine number 2 is available and running on idle, so you're gonna start engine number 1. Of course, before you starting engine, make sure that your throttle lever is on 0 in idle position. We can also already put our squawk to auto mode, and later before we go to runaway we will put this to TARA mode, active mode, right? So that's it, and you can see after we start engine we have actually here a line or dash dot altitude. That is how it's supposed to be. You must have dot here next to speed, dot next to heading, and dot next to altitude. That means that Autopilot will manage all of that for us. If you don't have dot, like for example, if you don't have dot, I cannot even remove it now. Maybe I can. Yes, I can. If you have numbers, that means that you are not flying on Autopilot, but on your manual heading. If you press like heading and you can set up heading, you can see on navigation display now we fly different heading. But if you press it up, you can see that all of these buttons for speed, for heading and for altitude actually can be pressed up and down. So I will explain you the difference. So if you press it up with arrow up, altitude, that means you are in managed mode. That means you are in managed mode, that autopilot actually manage your descent or anything. If you press it down, then you are going to open descent, for example. Same like heading. If you press up, you will follow the green line. If you press down, you're gonna follow the number of heading what you have here. Same with the speed. If you press down, you can set the speed. If you press up, computer will do it for you. Is that simple? Okay, number one, engine started. You can put this switch back to normal. We're gonna arm the speed brake. You know, just pull this lever out. That you do in case of rejected takeoff. If something happened, somebody blocked the runway, or something happened, you see any malfunction in your aircraft, you will abort takeoff. You need to arm that speed brake so you can easier stop. And also we're gonna put flaps into one position, because that is our takeoff flaps, which will be indicated here. This is your flaps. Okay, now with this screen here, FCTL, with this screen you will check your light. So left, right, center, down, up, center, and rudder, left, right, center. Our flight controls are good. Now we have some messages here. So you really cannot forget to do things. What you need to do is set auto brake to max also in case of rejected takeoff, so aircraft will stop on time before the end of the runway. You will have to alert your cabin crew. So you're going to go on up, and you will press to call all.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
You heard. You was advised them to actually you are prepared for takeoff, and then what we need to do is press takeoff config here to make it test. And after you press that, you will have all messages in green except one. You have here predicted wind shear off. That is a weather radar, and usually we turn that on before we enter the runway. So not yet. Usually you turn that on. I believe there is certain radiation from that, or there is a reason why you don't turn that on here where is people nearby and everything. So you turn that on when you further away from the airport. Okay, so we are good to go now. We can go taxi, but before we go taxi, actually what we're going to do is we're gonna turn off the APU. So you just click the master switch and you're gonna turn off the APU, and also you can turn off the APU bleed. By need you can turn on anti-ice. If you get message here that ice is detected, you will turn on anti-ice, but usually it happens on cruise, not on the ground, very rare. And what we need to do, we need to put strobe on auto, so it will automatically activate when we are on the runway. We will turn on our wing lights and navigational lights, and also taxi lights. Taxi lights until the runway, and before we enter runway, we're gonna turn on our landing and nose lights. So yeah, that's it. We can taxi now. Let me just set up camera, and what we can do now is release our parking brake and give a little bit of throttle, very little, until aircraft start to move. So very little. And you can even bring back that throttle, because you just need aircraft to start moving. and we're gonna make a right turn because we are going to runway 14, and like I said, this is taxi out stand, so we don't need pushback. And you can see there is no wind. That windsock is flattened down almost, so there is no wind at all. Usually I don't have problem with frame rates, but seems like because I'm recording, we have a little bit of frame drop. And also you wanna taxi around 10 knots in the turns, and we're gonna stop here because this is very short taxi. We're gonna stop here, gonna set our parking brake, and now what we're going to do is turn on our landing lights, all of them, our runway turn off light. We wanna turn on that weather radar, and also we're gonna set our squawk to active mode, and now we are good to go. So let me just set the camera and we can release our parking brake. Again, give it a little bit of throttle just to make aircraft moving, and we're gonna taxi out to the runway. You want to line up your aircraft with the center of the runway, like this. Now you may stop and prepare everything if you are not ready, or if you are ready you can just advance throttle, but I like to stop. I like to advance my throttle about 40% just to see them stable and okay, and when I see them stable, then I can release and push my throttle all the way back to takeoff position. We'd rather you will control yourself to be on the center of the runway and monitor your speed. Down on the speed tape you see 100 knots, 120 knots, and we have V1 speed and our rotate. Pull back your stick and we are in the air. When you have positive rate, you will bring the landing gear up and adjust yourself to the course, which is a little bit to the right. That's it. I'm still flying manually. You watch your speed. We are flying 160 knots and we have blinking message lever to climb. So we need to lower down our throttle. That was flex, and this is climb. So I lower down my throttle into climb position. I will lower down a little bit nose because we are losing speed. We don't want to lose speed, we want actually to increase the speed. We are climbing approximately on our route, and we still have flaps on because we are at very low speed. But what you can do now is already start your autopilot. It will align you with this green line. Let's go closer. You can see it will align us with this green line now, and we're gonna fly our way there. Now you can see here at 200 knots we're gonna pass the speed for flaps. So what you want to do when you reach to that point, you're gonna pull the flaps up all the way. We don't need flaps, and we have speed restriction of 220 knots as it is in the chart. Remember when I show you the chart, we have speed restriction of 220 knots and we're gonna follow that. But we don't have actually, we have bottom altitude restriction, we don't have upper. So we can climb actually, as long as we pass these restrictions when they say like 6,000 and above, 7,000 and above. So you can be, at that point you can be already at 8,000, doesn't matter, just you cannot exceed the speed. So that's why your autopilot is smart and it will follow the speed which is designated in your flight plan. Okay, ground spoilers. Now we can disarm them, we don't need them anymore. And actually what we're going to do, we're gonna climb. So we're gonna follow now our flight plan, our departure, and when we arrive at our at first waypoint, Tibri, our first waypoint, we should be at around 16,000 feet, and then we're gonna continue our climb to flight level 300. We are passing 10,000 feet. You're gonna see this message will start to blinking now. That means we need to set up our QNH to standard, so you just press down arrow and set it to standard. Also after 10,000 feet you can turn off the lights because we don't need them anymore, and we are good to go. See, we are now at the turn. (11,000 feet), 220 knots, because that's how it is on the charts actually. You remember, we are limited to 220 knots all the way until this waypoint, all the way here. After that you will see that aircraft will start, when we already go towards Vedur waypoint, you will see that aircraft will start increasing our speed, because after this waypoint we don't have any more speed limitation. See? No more speed limitation. We are now we now have set speed of 290 knots. So no more limit. And that's it. Actually, you are flying Airbus A320. It's that easy. So we have nothing much to do actually at this moment. We will just climb to our flight plan cruise altitude. So, but we are restricted, as you remember, we are restricted that we need to be at or above flight level 160. So that means we don't have to stay at 160. We are already at 160. We can climb further now. There is no below restriction, so they are all above restriction. We can be higher, but we cannot be lower. So what I'm going to do is set this up to our cruise altitude of flight level 300, and airplane will just continue to climb without any problems. So I'm gonna stop recording here, and I'm gonna bring you back after we are on cruise, so I can teach you how to calculate your top of descent. Okay, so we are almost at our cruise altitude. As you can see, we are just past Tibri. Let me bring it closer to you so you can see. So we are just past Tibri, and here is our whole flight plan. It's not that long, it's about 180 miles maybe around. So let me just bring the charts and let's talk about top of descent. So this is our arrival, right? We gonna arrive at Tabli, and we're gonna fly here and here and here and then down. So we don't have any restriction on Tabli, but we have restriction on Zulu Alpha 712. We need to be at 9,000 or above, and then on Timbo we need to be at 4,000 and above, and also at Rerna we need to be at 4,000 and above. When you have this line down, that means you need to be higher than 4,000 or at 4,000, not below. So our first altitude restriction is at Zulu Alpha 712, 9,000, but we are arriving at Tabli, so I want to be on Tabli, like let's say I want to be, we have 26 miles here, 26 plus 8, we have a lot of here until we come to that 9,000 restriction, but I want to be on Tabli at, let's say, flight level 120. I want to be here at flight level 120. How we know when to start descent? It's very easy. Let's go to our tablet here, and let's go to calculator, and let's set. We will be at 30,000 feet. Our target altitude will be 12,000 feet, and that means we need to start our descent 57 nautical miles before that waypoint where we want to be at 12,000 feet. 57 nautical miles. So how are we gonna know when is 57 nautical miles? Let's go to FMC. Let's click on the first waypoint in our flight plan. Let's click on Fix Info, and let's put Tabli here, because Tabli is going to be our waypoint. We want to be at 12,000. So you just write you put Tabli, and now we have Tabli here, and we want to enter this this number 57 nautical miles. We want to enter that into radius, so we press 57 and then press here, and then we can go back to flight plan, and when we go here we get a circle around Tabli, and that circle is exactly 57 nautical miles from Tabli. So when we actually arrive, when our airplane arrive at the beginning of that circle, we need to start descent. Later now, of course, after they update the Airbus, you will have actually a top of descent sign here, but at this moment it's not still implemented into this Airbus. So this is the easiest way how you know when to descend. So we're gonna start our descent actually just at the beginning of that circle. And how we're gonna do it, you will see. It's super simple. I'm gonna bring you back, because we still have 80 miles, that's a long flight. I'm gonna bring you back before top of descent so you can see. Okay, so now we are getting closer to our circle where we need to start our descent. But before we start descent, actually what we need to do is to prepare aircraft for our destination, and it say here enter destination data. It is about time, right? So what you're gonna do, you're gonna go to performance page, and you're gonna go to the last phase, that is approach. And what we need here is QNH of our destination airport. It's 1020, so you're gonna enter 1020. You're gonna need temperature, which is -2, so we're gonna set up -2. And we need our wind, which is at this moment from 210 direction, 7 knots. So we enter 210/07. /7 only. Yeah, like this. And what we need is our decision altitude. Now, if you're using charts, you will have your decision altitude written in the bottom of the chart. As you can see here, we are coming in ILS, and we are category C actually, but this is for all categories. Our decision altitude is 548. If we gonna enter here at baro, if you're gonna enter radio, then it will be 200, this one in the brackets, but I'm gonna use 548 for now. So you just enter 548 in the baro. You can use either one, it's good. Okay, let's check where we are. We are not yet on our top of descent. So we are now we have now entered all destination data, and we can just switch to flight plan. And what we're gonna do is wait for the top of descent, right? During our descent, there is two important things you need to pay attention, and that is 10,000 feet, you need to turn on your lights, and also you need to adjust your speed to be 250 knots or less, because there is like worldwide speed restriction that below 10,000 feet your speed need to be 250 knots or less, and also you need to have your lights on. That is the rule, I believe, everywhere in the world. Okay, we are now super close to our circle, as you can see now when I zoom in a bit. So I'm gonna set here flight level 120, and I'm gonna press upper arrow. Oh, wait, and upper arrow, and airplane will start slowly its descent. As you can see here, we are we have descent statement here in the autopilot, and airplane will start to descend slowly. We can zoom out a little bit so we can see Point Tably, because we said we're gonna be at Tably at 12,000 feet. It's gonna be around that point. If you just go to manage descent at the beginning, like we calculate, if you just go to manage descent, it will approximately descend in the angle of at the angle of 3 degrees. That is how actually it works. So it will approximately descend at angle of 3 degrees, and you don't have to think about your vertical speed. You just press manage descent, and it's gonna manage the angle for you. So approximately around Tably, probably a little bit before, we're gonna be at 12,000 feet. Okay, after Tably, let me bring the chart back again. So after Tably, we're gonna fly on this 26 miles, and then we have speed restriction. You can see at Zulu Alpha 714, we have speed restriction of 230 knots. It is very possible that aircraft will take care of that for you, but we're gonna see that. and we're gonna pay attention. If not, we're gonna lower down the speed. I will show you how. And also we need to be at 9,000 feet at Zulu Alpha 712. So after Tabli and after we descend to 12,000 feet, we're gonna continue our descent to 9,000 feet. We can be actually anywhere here before that point at 9,000 feet. It's okay, because like I said, it's at or above, it's not below, right? So we can be anywhere on that route to that point on 9,000 feet. But also you don't want to descend too early and too quickly. That's why I calculate my descent, where I'm going to start my descent, to make your life easier, right? Okay. What else we can do? At this moment, we cannot do anything much. We are still practically very high, and we need to wait until we come to 10,000 feet. Then we're gonna slow down to 250 knots. We're gonna turn on our lights. We're gonna arm our speed brake and follow the descent path further, like 9,000 feet and then 4,000 feet. Yeah, you just follow the chart practically. Also, if you wonder why this one is so not bright, you can also increase the brightness here on the same button, just on the opposite side for the flight officer. If you like to fly on that side, no problem, but I like to fly on the left side. This will be a very long video, but it will be, I believe, good tutorial, and I believe it will be useful for you, because I was really trying to explain everything in the most easiest way. I don't want to complicate things for you. Just the simpler the better, right? What else you can do? Actually, you can already check your ILS frequency and the course, and you're gonna see that on ILS chart. So if we bring the ILS chart, you can have that here, 109.1 frequency and 223 course, or you can see it here also, 223 course and 109.1. So we're gonna check. Airbus is actually very convenient, and it will tune all of that for you. So we just wanna go to rad nav, and we're gonna check. Okay, LS frequency is 109.1 and course is 223, so everything is set for you. If it's not set, you can set it manually, but there is no need, because aircraft will always set that for you. That is convenience of flying with Airbus. If you fly Boeing, you will already have to set that by yourself. But on Airbus, you don't have to set course and frequency, because it will set automatic for you. As you can see, we are very close to Tabli, like 20 miles away, and we are already at 16,000 feet, flight level 160. So that means we will be at, actually before Tabli, we will already be at our designated 12,000 or flight level 120, because it is flight level 120, everything which is above the transition level. When we pass transition level, we're gonna start calculating our altitude in thousands. But above transition level, everything is flight level. Now, to explain what is transition altitude and transition level, I believe I will make separate video for that. But to make you easier, let me say like this. When you take off, you passing 10,000 feet, which is our transition altitude, and you switch your QNH to standard. When you descending, you will pass transition level, which is in certain countries is already designated. In certain countries it is assigned by ATC, and it's depend of a range of pressure, air pressure. And in our case today we're gonna have our transition level somewhere around flight level 110, and that is the moment when we pass 110 we're gonna switch this to QNH of our destination airport, and we're gonna start calculate our altitude in thousands of feet. Look at this, we are at Tabli and we are at flight level 120, almost, like I said. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it at this moment here. See, we are arriving at Tabli and we are at 120. Like I said, it will really manage that angle for you, so you don't have to worry about your descent. If you calculate in the same way like I calculate now, you will never miss your altitude. You will be really good to for every approach, for everything. So we are now at Tabli, and we know that we need to be at our not next waypoint, but that further waypoint. We need to be at 9,000 feet, and it's still a long way to go. I will leave it for the moment at the flight level 120, and when we arrive somewhere here, I'm gonna start our descent further, like let's say around 10 miles from Tabli. I will leave recording now so you can see everything. See, there is already a speed restriction at 250, and aircraft know that because it's in the flight plan. You see, he also know that we need to be at 9,000 feet above at Zulu Alpha 713, and we also need to be at Timbo at 4,000 feet, because when we enter that approach, it will automatically load those restrictions for us. So we are now at 250 speed, but we have restriction of 230 at this waypoint. So we need to be at 230 knots speed at this waypoint, and that is probably not here, but it is in the chart. I can show you again. Look, max 230 knots at this waypoint, and we are here. Look. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna continue our descent to 9,000 feet. I'm gonna press upper arrow again for manage descent, and let the aircraft descend. We are still 20 miles away from that waypoint. We're gonna slow down also. And how we gonna slow down? Simple. I will press the bottom arrow here and set the speed to 230, and then later when we come to our approach phase, I will just press the manage speed again. Very, very easy. You can already arm the speed brake. Oh no, the speed brake, I mean the auto brake. and because we have long runway in Zagreb, we're gonna use low brake. And also I will not yet arm speed brake because I might need it to slow down a little bit. Oh, we are already at 230, look at that. So it's smart. Look, now we are past 10,000, actually flight level 110, and QNH is blinking for us, so we need to set QNH, and QNH was 1020. So what we're gonna press? We're gonna press this and set up to 1020. That is our QNH for destination airport. See? Smart Airbus. Already set speed to 230, so I don't have to touch anything. And we are very close to 9,000 feet even before that point. But we cannot descend further because on this 712 it strictly say 9,000 and above, which means we cannot descend further now until we pass that waypoint. After we pass that waypoint, we're gonna descend to 4,000 feet because we need to be here at 4,000 or above on this waypoint. Super easy, right? So we are at 9,000 feet, we're gonna stay like that. We can already arm speed brake because obviously we won't need it. We don't need to slow down. You see, it say ground spoilers armed. And also we are past 10,000 feet. What we need to do is turn on our landing lights. And also this one you should turn on after you lower down your landing gear, but I turn it on because it will be off until landing gear is out, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, and we are now good, totally good for our approach. Let me I won't zoom yet because this is a better view for you. We can already see the ground, beautiful, not many clouds, nice. And let's focus on our arrival now. Like I said, until Zulu Alpha 712 we need to stay at 9,000 feet. After that we can further descend. But you can prepare already next altitude, just don't press anything. So we can prepare here 4,000 feet, just don't press that arrow. Don't touch anything, just scroll and set up 4,000 feet and don't touch. After we pass that waypoint, 712, we can press to descend. You can set here. As long as you don't press the button, it will not go into descent. I don't know why aircraft go to, that must be a glitch in the flight plan, because we should be at 230 knots at this, so I will have to see. That's why you need to monitor. That's why I'm gonna set the speed manually to 230 knots. See, that's why you need to monitor. You cannot trust to autopilot everything, because that must be glitch somewhere in the flight plan, in navigation data. You see, we were at 230 knots and suddenly he switched to 250 knots, which doesn't make any sense. We will stay on 230 knots further, and probably later here somewhere in in this area we're gonna slow down even more. See, that's what I was telling you. Press down and then you set number, and then aircraft will follow not what is in autopilot, but will follow what you tell him. If I now pull down heading and set up heading, it will follow my heading and not this green line. That's how you control. If ATC tell you, for example, ATC will tell you, I don't know, turn right heading 030, then you press that heading and scroll it to 030, right? To 030, for example. I didn't press now, I'm just scrolling. So it still have dot. When it's have dot, that means it's following the green line. But for example, you set up to 030 and aircraft will follow 030, which is here. See, heading is set to 030, which is here. But we don't have ATC, we're gonna follow our arrival. Now, we are arriving at our Zulu Alpha 712 waypoint. See, we are just 1.1 miles. You can see here how far you are from the next waypoint. So we can continue our descent to 4,000 feet. We are already above the city. Some villages, I believe. So we are going now to our descent to 4,000 feet, because on Rerna waypoint we need to be at 4,000 feet. That is our last waypoint of our arrival. Last waypoint of our arrival. Don't mistake arrival with approach. Approach will be after that waypoint to the runway. That is approach. But this is arrival. This is your arrival, how you arrive to the airport. And then how you gonna approach the runway, that is approach. So there is two different things. Arrival and approach are not same. We can actually turn off these lights because it's nice and day. So, like I said, I'm gonna stay at 230 knots for a while, but probably I'm gonna slow down more later after we make this left turn. Here at Timbo waypoint we need to be at 4,000 feet, and then I can actually show you, because see, Navigraph show me exactly where is my airplane in relation to the arrival. We are here at this moment, and we're gonna turn here to the Rerna waypoint. And after that we're gonna switch our chart to this one, because see, we are here, we have here Timbo, and after Timbo we have Rerna, and then we have our glide slope. We're gonna pass Timbo actually, and here at Rerna here, and then we're gonna descend further from Rerna. We're gonna descend further to 3,500 feet, which is not actually much, it's only 500 feet lower. We're gonna descend and intercept our glide slope. So when I'm close to that Rerna waypoint, I'm gonna set the altitude to 3,500 feet. And if you wonder how to set, because it only counts thousands here, it's super easy. You just switch this black to hundreds, and then you can set, you will see later, you can set hundreds here. That's super easy. So we are good. We have lights on, we have speed brake arm, we have already entered everything in our destination data in approach page. So we are good. We are totally ready for landing. We are at 4,000 feet, as you can see, which is good. We need to be 4,000 or above, and we're going to make a turn. And now what I'm going to do is set up 3,500, and I'm gonna press again up to get this dot, and we're gonna continue our descent to 3,500, because after we pass Rerna, we need to be at 3,500. But see, because we have 4,000 and above, aircraft will not follow you. If you really want before Rerna to descend to 3,500, or if ATC tell you, then you will go either to open descent and it will go automatically, or you're gonna set up a vertical speed and tell him, okay, go to descend at that and that speed, whatever it is. Now we're gonna turn our ILS. As you can see, it's already active and tuned. We have our glide slope and our localizer diamonds, but they are still not centered, because we are flying at 90 degrees angle to the localizer at this moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to manage speed, and aircraft will start to slow down. And after we pass this green circle, we can actually deploy our first flaps. And now you can see, after we pass 200, we can deploy our second flaps. And also it will be very wise to deploy your landing gear already, just to slow you down. You can see now, as we turning towards the runway, our localizer is already aligning. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna press localizer button. So it will capture our localizer and stay on that course. And also we can do is arm the approach. So now we have glide slope armed. It's not yet captured because diamond is still up, but it is armed. And as soon as this diamond come to the middle point, it will start descending with the glide slope. So what we can do now, we are already at approach phase. See, we can deploy second flaps. Because we are at 180 knots. Managed speed. And when we pass this, well, you can see this purple circle with letter D inside. When we touch that circle, our speed will start to go down in our approach speed. You can see here, it's still not activated, approach phase. When it will activate automatically when we touch that circle. And you can activate it earlier. See, now it's activated. Now it's activated, and we are slowing down. We are slowing down slowly to our approach speed, which will be 135 knots. And we can see already runway in the far, and our glide slope become alive. We just need to monitor aircraft that it follow everything perfect. See? We can deploy more flaps, and now when we come to that F, we can actually go to full flaps. You just need to monitor here, because you cannot deploy flaps if you are too fast or something, otherwise you will damage your aircraft. So you need to follow that lines and deploy flaps as your speed go down. Super easy. Okay, we are almost at our glide slope, as you can see. Okay, we captured glide slope, and you can see that aircraft started slowly to go down and follow the glide slope, and it will bring you exactly to the runway, to the touchdown zone. If you want, you can actually you can now for example, if you want to land and it's super low visibility, let's say we don't see the runway now, it's fog, it's clouds, it's super horrible weather, you cannot see, you can actually turn on the second autopilot. If you turn it on, it will say here dual, and it will be in auto land mode, and it will land the aircraft for you actually. But we don't need that, because visibility is okay, and we can just turn off autopilot and land by our hands. But in case the bad visibility and you cannot see the runway, you can just turn on the autopilot and second autopilot and let the aircraft descend and land for you. Okay, we have our landing checklist now, so everything is good, except we didn't advise our cabin crew. So what we need to do is press all.
Flight attendants, please prepare for landing.
And it will say cabin that we are close to landing. So now we are good. Everything is green. It's always good when everything is green here, then you know you did everything what is required. So we are now at our approach speed, we are on glide slope, on localizer, everything is good. We have real weather here, so we have wind actually. We have wind from nose and right, that is southwest wind of 12 knots. This signal and also this blinking means you are at outer marker. We are passing outer marker now, and that decision of 548 here we enter, that is our decision altitude. And if we reach to that altitude and we cannot see the runway, or we are not in speed for landing, we need to perform go around. You cannot land. That is your decision altitude. That's why it's called decision altitude, because that is when you need to make decision you're gonna land or not. That's why it's called decision altitude. Okay, so 1000, we are almost at middle marker. You will not get signal for middle marker, I believe, or maybe it will just visual, but it won't beep like for outer marker. So as you can see, we are totally good. If you can see poppy lights there, there is 2 red and 2 white, which is perfect. We are really good for landing, and also we get message here landing inhibit, which means that everything is okay. You can land.
500.
We are now at 500. Now it will say minimums. That is our decision.
400.
400. And
300.
300.
100 above.
100 above. We can turn off
200.
autopilot. And just follow.
Minimum.
You don't have to do much. There is minimums.
100.
See, 100. Now when he say retard, we're gonna pull the
50. 40. 30.
throttle
20.
a little bit
10.
back,
Retard.
and also pull the nose up and lower down the nose. In need, you can start reversers until 80 knots, and then you can turn them off. And also you press on your brake so you can release auto brake, and you can just slide the runaway until your exit, right? You can see your ground speed on the display. It's actually 42 knots, so we want to slow down to around 10 knots, but I slow down a little bit more, so I will give a little bit of throttle just to vacate the runaway. Because remember what we say when you taxi, in the turn you don't want to exceed 10 knots when you're turning. If you go straight, you can go up to 25 knots, but if you turning, you want to be around 10 knots. 11 knots, 12 knots is okay, but not 20 or 15 or whatever. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna vacate the runway here. We're gonna stop here. You can pull your parking brake, and now we can switch off the lights, landing lights, runaway light, and also put this to taxi light. You can already start APU because you're gonna need it when you're there, and also you wanna turn off your squawk and weather radar, and we can taxi further now. Actually, we should taxi to that terminal over there, but I'm gonna taxi here because it's closer, and we don't want that video to last too long because it's already too long. So again, give it a little bit of thrust and then pull it back, and engines will have enough thrust to actually push the aircraft. Now, if you have ATC, they will tell you go to parking that and that, but we don't have ATC, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna decide for ourselves. I'm gonna slow down a little bit and then turn here to the first available parking. There we go. Line up with this yellow line and slow down, and when your wheel is on that circle, make it to complete stop. Pull your parking brake. Okay, now your APU you can check, but your APU should be already up and running as it is, so we can actually turn off the engines. We can clear our flaps. That should be actually done before we turn off the engine because flaps are hydraulic and you cannot bring them back. I mean, you can in simulator, but actually you shouldn't operate flaps if engines are not running. So that's it, and super easy. You will turn APU bleed also. Now you can turn off all fuel pumps. You can turn off the lights, signs, disarm this, turn off the crew supply. Also you can turn off the IRS, and after that you can turn off everything. So we don't have external power here. We're gonna just turn off the APU. It will stay on for a while. It will stay on for a while, and then after some time it will just turn off. Of course you will open the door, release the passengers and everything, and actually that is your flight. After APU is turned off, the only thing you need to do is turn off your battery, and that's all. So let's wait. It take time. It take like, I believe, 2 minutes or something like that. I think around 2 minutes until APU is totally off. We're gonna see now. I don't want to let you go until APU is off. This video is already 1 hour and 30 minutes, so it can be 2 or 3 minutes longer, no problem. Right? So you can see we turn off APU, but it's still available. Interesting, right? That is if you accidentally press the switch, so it doesn't turn off. So this is very important that it stay for a while. It will go away very soon. You're gonna see. There you go. Now you have silence. Now the only thing you need to do is turn off battery. You are completely in cold and dark aircraft. You can also turn off your tablet. That's it. Thank you very much for watching. Welcome to Zagreb, and see you in the next video. Bye.